hardest things that I had to deal with in my life was the loss of my father. Even till this day, and it's been 10 years now, even till this day, I have challenges when it comes to that, when it comes to his loss. There has been a couple of things that I've been able to do that has helped me along the way. To say that I'm completely fine after 10 years, I'll be lying to you. But before I get into the things that I have done that has helped me along the way, let me frame to you exactly what happened, because I still remember like it was yesterday the events that happened on that day, the events that happened to me, the surrounding events leading up to when I found out. And at that time, I was still married, and I was away in a couples retreat. My wife and I, with a group of people from my church, we were away in Jersey for a couple retreat that weekend. My father was supposed to come home the previous Wednesday. We went on that retreat on Friday. He was supposed to come home on Wednesday. But my dad, he always was looking to fly standby because, of course, flying standby is the cheapest ticket. And I was jokingly angry with my dad because I'm like, okay, once again, you're gonna go fly standby, and you were supposed to be here last week, and that didn't happen. But when are you coming home? And the reason for that was because I wanted him to meet my son. So that weekend came, and that Saturday, everything was going great. My wife, at the time, we were having a great time with the other couples. And then we went to a restaurant. To save ourselves from taking too many cars, I went with my pastor in his car to this restaurant. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was some kind of like a Chinese buffet. And when we got there, once again, we were having a good time, stuff like that. My pastor had to go back because he needed to study for the following day, which was Sunday. He needed to finish up his study and finish up what he had to do for the sermon. So what we decided to do was, we didn't want the fun to stop. We were having a good time. So we got into his car so we can go back to get mine. So on our way back to pick up my car while I'm in my pastor's car, I get a phone call from my brother. My brother calls me, and it was very weird. So didn't expect a phone call from my brother at that time. So no problem, no big deal. I pick up the phone, and he tells me Papi's dead. And when he tells me that, I didn't believe him initially. So I asked him, what? What are you saying? And he repeats, Papi's gone. And that's when it hit me that my father was gone. And I started crying uncontrollably. And my pastor had to pull over to the side because they didn't know what was happening. They didn't know what was going on. And once that happened, my brother gave the phone to my mom, and my mom goes, se nos fue Dito, se nos fue, which means that he's gone. He left us. And once that happened, I lost it. While being pulled over to the side, my wife grabs my phone, she steps out, she begins speaking to my mother. My brother, I'm not sure. I was just in the car crying uncontrollably because I just lost my dad. One of the things that truly helped me through that season, interestingly enough, that when those things happened, we got to the hotel and we drove back to Brooklyn. And I was driving back to my brother's apartment because that's where my mom was also. And driving back, it was raining, so people really couldn't see me crying. I cried the entire way back to my brother's apartment, which was about a 2-hour drive. The entire time. And by the grace of God, I made it. We made it safe. My wife couldn't drive. My wife didn't know how to drive, so I had to drive. So I'm driving, crying, bawling. And we reached the apartment. But one of the things that truly helped me during that time was, at that time, my wife. And what truly helped me was the fact that she was just there. So one of the things that truly helped me was being around loved ones. If you have this opportunity to be around loved ones, if you lost someone, be around those that truly care about you, that truly matter to you, and just have them there. Just having her presence around me, just having her next to me, helped me out a lot. I was able to cry in front of her. I was able to weep in front of her. I was able to be vulnerable around her without being judged, without her thinking less of me. I was able to scream around her. I was able to rant around her. I was able to be extremely vulnerable around her without having to say anything about it, or her asking me questions or asking me if I'm okay, if I'm alright. So being around loved ones, especially in those times, is extremely, extremely helpful, because they will allow you to be vulnerable in a situation where you're going to feel vulnerable and you're going to need to be vulnerable. You're going to have to get those emotions out. You're going to have to cope extremely hard with the situation, and it's not an easy one. But the other thing that also helped me along the way, and not to say that I'm fine, but these things have helped me to be okay. Because I don't remember exactly when I was fine. I don't remember exactly when I was recuperated. I can't remember. I really don't. Can't remember the year or the month or whatever. I just don't. I just know that I got to a point where I was okay. And there was a season in my life where I was really angry with God. And the reason I was angry with God is because my dad and I didn't have the greatest relationship coming up. We didn't have that type of bond that I was looking for. But when I got older, when I truly dedicated my life to Christ, I began to see the world through the eyes of Christ. So my character completely changed. And because of that, my dad and I were able to begin to have a relationship. And I truly, truly, truly give all the glory and honor to God for allowing me to make that change in my life so things can get better between my father and I. And things were getting better. And then all of a sudden, he got taken away. My father's friends used to tell me that I was my father's pride and joy. That he will brag about me when I was a baby, and now that I became a Christian, a true disciple of Christ. He used to brag about me, and they told me these things. They used to tell me these things. So I wanted my dad to meet my son, because since I only have one, he was, as my boy, as my only boy, he was my pride and joy. I have 2 older daughters, and I loved my daughters extremely. But the same way that my dad felt about me is the same way that I feel about my son. I wanted my dad to meet my son. And I was so excited for that to happen, because we had a date set of when my dad was going to come back. to finally meet my son, and it didn't happen. So I was extremely upset with God for a season, because in my prayer sessions I would tell God, God, why would you allow me to get closer to my dad at this moment and then take him away? Why would you allow me to get so much closer to him that I've ever been, and yet now he is gone? Why would you allow that to happen? And those were my prayers some days. And I will rant and be angry towards God. And then, ironically enough, there was a time where I felt peace in one of my prayer sessions. And God reminded me that tough times don't last, but tough people do. And trials and tribulations come to everyone in life, but it all depends on how you handle it. So even in that moment, even when I felt angry with God, I was able to find peace. I was able to find solace. I was able to find comfort in my Maker, because he reminded me that even in the midst of my weakness and my hurt, he is made strong, and he will give you the comfort that you need, that I needed. And then my favorite scripture became my testament, which is Isaiah 26:3, which says, I will keep in perfect peace whose mind stays on me, because he has trusted in the Lord. And I held on to that scripture, and I held on to that, and God gave me so much peace, to the point that I was able to take what happened to me and build upon it. And what I mean by that is that I was able to become a better dad. I was able to become a better father, because it taught me that I needed to be better. I had to be better with my kids. I had to show them what I was missing when I was younger, and not faulting my dad, because he grew up different than I. His father treated him different. So that taught me a very, very good lesson. In spite of his imperfections, in spite of the things that I thought that I was missing, my dad was great. And to this day, I miss him extremely. So those are the things that has helped me in the loss of my dad. So I hope that these things that I've mentioned were able to be a blessing to you. I know that you're going through a rough time at this moment. It's not easy, but you'll make it through. You'll definitely make it through. Just surround yourself with God. Surround yourself with your loved ones, and you'll see that the sun will shine once again. If you have made it this far into the video, I just want to tell you to hold on. There will be brighter days. There will be better days. Just hold on. And thank you for watching. God bless you. God keep you. And if the sky is the limit, then reach for the stars. Be blessed. Take care.